today we're jumping into a really incredible area of autism research. It's a story that connects genetics, the immune system, and, believe it or not, a simple vitamin. We're going to unpack how these things, which seem totally separate, are actually coming together to point towards a treatable condition that could affect a lot of people on the spectrum. And this quote from Dr. Richard Bowles, it's the perfect way to kick things off. It really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. The idea that while your genes might set the stage for something, it's often an environmental factor that actually, well, pulls the trigger. This whole back and forth is absolutely key to solving the puzzle of autism. All right, so let's get into the genetics first. We usually think of genetic conditions as something that's just passed down, right, from parent to child. But when we look at autism, the science shows us that the real picture is way more complex than that. So check this out. There are really two main genetic paths. Over on the left, you have the classic model, genes inherited straight from mom and dad. But look at the right side. That's something called a de novo mutation. This is a brand new genetic change, one that just pops up in the child and wasn't there in the parents. And here's the kicker. It can be influenced by environmental factors. This really challenges how we've always thought about things being genetic. So just how big of a deal are these new mutations? Well, in a study of his own patients, Dr. Richard Bowles found that a staggering 50% had a de novo mutation that was thought to be the main genetic reason for their autism. 50%. Right away, that tells you we have to look way beyond just the family tree to find the real answers. Okay, so if it's not always just inherited genetics, what else is going on? Well, this is where the detective work gets really interesting. Researchers started looking for clues in a very specific place, the brain's own unique environment, specifically in the fluid that surrounds it. And what they found was a huge breakthrough. A researcher, Dr. Rumrockers, identified this thing called cerebral folate deficiency. Here's the crazy part. The kids had totally normal levels of folate in their blood, but when they checked the fluid around the brain, it was critically low. This screamed transport problem. The brain was literally being starved of a nutrient it absolutely needs for energy and development. Think about it like this. The brain is like a high-security fortress, and folate can't just waltz in. To get past the gates, it needs a special escort, an energy-powered transport system. And that main gate is a protein called the folate receptor alpha. This isn't passive, it's an active process that physically pulls the folate into the brain where it's needed most. So the big question became, what on earth could be blocking this critical gateway? And the next big clue came from a place you would never expect, autoimmune research, the study of how the body can sometimes get confused and attack itself. And here it is, the aha moment. Scientists discovered that some people produce these things called autoantibodies. They're like rogue security guards that start attacking your own body. And in this case, they found autoantibodies that were specifically targeting and blocking the folate receptor alpha. They were jamming the main gate, like a key broken off in the lock, stopping folate from getting into the brain. This led to a game-changing study. Dr. Richard Fry tested a group of kids with autism, and what he found was just, wow. A full 75% of them had these gate-blocking autoantibodies. That's 3 out of 4. This was a massive piece of the puzzle. It gave us a direct, measurable, and surprisingly common biological target. Okay, so if the main gate is blocked, what do you do? Is it game over? Not even close. Turns out, medicine has known about an alternate route, a kind of side door, if you will, for almost 100 years. And this is where it gets really clever. There's a special activated form of folate called leucovorin. And leucovorin can use a completely different transporter, that side door we were talking about. And because this side door works differently, we can use a high enough dose to literally push the folate into the brain, completely bypassing the autoantibody blockade at the main gate. It's a brilliant workaround. And the results of using this workaround can be absolutely life-changing. Like Dr. Fry says here, this research completely flips the script. It shifts our thinking from just managing symptoms of a lifelong condition to actively treating an underlying biological issue. That offers a totally new kind of hope, one that's based on solid science. So, for any parents watching this, the next question is obvious. Okay, what do I do now? Well, the research actually points to a very clear path forward. But it all starts with making sure you have a solid foundation in place first. Before even thinking about a targeted treatment like leucovorin, Dr. Fry really stresses these 3 foundational steps. First, you have to get sleep sorted out. A lack of good sleep messes with literally everything. Second, focus on gut health. Inflammation there is a huge source of stress on the body. And third, correct any basic nutritional gaps. If the body's fundamental needs aren't being met, no treatment is going to work as well as it could. Now, for any parents looking to go down this path, there are some really important things to keep in mind. First and foremost, you have to work with a doctor who gets this stuff. It's not a DIY situation. Second, the motto is low and slow. You start with a tiny dose and increase it gradually. Also, be aware that the standard pharmacy versions can have fillers that cause side effects, which is why cleaner, compounded forms are often a better choice. And just remember, this takes patience. It's not a magic pill. It's one important piece of a bigger picture. And that leads to another really important point. The body is a super complex system. As Dr. Bowles explains, our cells' little energy factories, our mitochondria, they need a whole bunch of different nutrients to work properly. That's why he often suggests a mitochondrial cocktail, which is a blend of many different supportive nutrients. It's a more holistic approach that can be a lot more effective and a lot more gentle than just hitting one thing with a super high dose. You know, this whole scientific detective story, from a genetic puzzle to an autoimmune problem to a vitamin transport fix, it gives us a whole new lens to look through. It helps us see autism not just as some fixed, unchangeable thing, but as a condition with complex and, in some cases, truly treatable biological roots. And it leaves us with this really exciting and hopeful question. If we figured this much out already, what other incredible discoveries are waiting for us right around the corner?